Hello, this is Shelly Ungerank, and I am an agent for Heartland Realty in DeSoto, and this is my YouTube channel called Shelly Makes It Happen. If this is the first time that you've tuned in, I just want to say thank you, and for those of you that are tuning in for multiple times, thank you also. I am, for people that have not seen my channel before, I do just a few videos that are just general real estate topics, and try to just kind of explain some of the concepts in real estate that agents use. This is not a one-size-fits-all, so keep in mind your situation is something you individually need to speak to your agent about and see what works for you. So I don't want this to be kind of a, I should do all of this, because my subject today is basically a subject that has come up with the times. I mean, this is 2022. It's definitely still a seller's market. I've been doing real estate for about maybe between 12 and 13 years now. This is definitely a different market than it was when I started in real estate. So the market does change, and therefore some of the practices and the tactics that we use have to change along with those times. And so we're going to talk a lot because this is very common now. It's not always been the case, but right now, multiple offers. If you are a buyer and you in the market today at all, you know what I mean when I say multiple offers, because if you have not been involved in them, you are definitely in the 5% or less of buyers on the market today. Multiple offers right now are extremely common and extremely competitive. So the one thing I just want to say generically to all buyers is try to be patient. Your time will come, and if it's meant to be, it'll be. Those are things you really need to keep in mind to help you not get so frustrated in this market. And believe me, agents are just as frustrated as you are. It's not fun for us either to write multiple offers on different properties and never see you be able to get an offer accepted. So I'm going to go through a few things today that might help you in those situations. But again, these are things you should really discuss with your agent and make sure that they work for you. They definitely will make you more competitive in the market. If you submit an offer, there are obviously some things you can do to get your offer to stand out a little bit, but there's some risk involved in doing those things. So you need to fully understand what you're doing and make sure this is the direction that you want to go. So I won't talk a lot about love letters because I think we talked about that in another episode that I did pretty extensively. But love letters are basically letters that a buyer can send in with their offer to the seller, talking about why their offer should be accepted. So that is one thing that you can do, and that's kind of a video in itself. So I'm only going to kind of tap on that to say a love letter is something you might want to discuss with your agent and know more about when you send in your offer. There are some sellers who are not going to accept love letters. So it's, again, kind of an individual thing that you have to think about that may help you in some situations. And it's definitely worth a conversation with your agent. So if your agent is not me, talk to your agent about it. So the other things that you might want to think about when you're writing an offer and you're trying to be more competitive, things that sellers look at, in other words, is your loan type. So definitely, and some of this you may not have any choice in, but there is nothing wrong with a government-backed loan. Like I'm talking about maybe a VA loan, an FHA loan, or a USDA loan, depending on where you live. But those loans definitely come with more stricter restrictions whenever the appraisal is done than a conventional loan, or of course a cash buyer. So if you have any choice, for example, an FHA loan is 3.5% down, and you can do some conventional loans with lenders for 5% down. You might want to consider doing the 5% down and going to a conventional loan, because to a seller that makes you look a lot stronger, and it also makes the appraisal process a whole lot easier for the seller. There won't be as many demands in the condition of the house. So it does, of course, depend on the condition of the house, but definitely if you can do a conventional, and cash is always king too, then that'll make you stronger than if you have to do one of the other type loans in most cases. So really think about your loan type and talk to your loan officer and know what is available to you and what you can do. Any contingencies that you can leave out of the contract, you should. So, if you absolutely have to have that refrigerator or that swing set in the back, write it in if that's something that really is a deal breaker to you. But if it's not a deal breaker, don't put it in there. If you can live without it and you would buy the house without it, don't put it in there, because the seller is literally looking at multiple offers, and every little thing that you ask for is something that they're going to look at and they're going to consider. Hey, this guy offered me, you know, $400,000 and he doesn't want anything left behind other than what's attached, of course. But this other person is offering me $400,000, but he wants, you know, this, and this. Those are all things to consider. I'm not saying you should give up everything you want, but if it's not a deal breaker, don't ask for it, because the seller is definitely looking at everything that you're asking for. If you can do a contingency not to sell your house, and not everybody can, do that. It's definitely, that is a huge thing that, you know, why would a seller really want to wait for you to sell your house when they have other buyers in line that don't have to sell a house? So if you can do a bridge loan, which is something you need to talk to your lender about, or you have any other options available to you, those are really things that you need to consider not doing if you really are serious about getting into a new home. And if you found that dream home and you want to pull out all the stops to get it, you know, making it contingent upon the sale of your house is definitely something that makes you a little less attractive in a multiple offer situation. The closing date, you want that closing date to be as soon as possible. In most cases, the seller wants to close as soon as possible. There may be some exceptions to that, but not many. So, you know, even, 2 weeks can make a difference to a seller in some cases. So really talk to you don't want to promise something that you can't do. I'm not advising that you put a closing date in there that you can't make and then you have to ask for an extension later. That's not a good idea either. But if you can do it and your loan officer says that you can make a certain date, that's the date you want to use. You want to get that loan closed and get this deal done as soon as possible. Any concession. So we already tapped a little bit on asking for such things as, swing sets and refrigerators, but think of any concession. If you can leave out the closing cost, if you're asking for closing cost and you have to have it, then you have to have it. That's just the way it goes. But definitely, again, the seller's looking at that. So if you can pay your own closing costs, that's definitely something you want to do. So any kind of concession that you're asking, a home warranty, anything that you're asking for is one more thing the seller has to do. And if they have a buyer that is not requiring those things, that buyer's going to look a little stronger to them. If you can put more money down for your earnest money, that will make you look stronger, which of course is money that you get back at closing, provided there's not some kind of a breach in the contract, and your agent really needs to go over that thoroughly with you about earnest money and how that works. But if you can put down more earnest money, that definitely kind of makes you look like, that really makes you look like a stronger buyer. Now, this is a big one. Some people will send an offer in that says no inspections. I'll take it just the way it is. I'm not going to do any home inspections. I'm going to take it no matter what. I have no request for you. That can be a dangerous game to play. So if you say it, you need to mean it. But, it definitely is something that, what seller wouldn't want to not have to worry about the inspection period? And that's not to say that anything is definitely wrong with their house. But, if they don't have to do anything at all, fix a broken window that maybe doesn't open right, small, maybe, something in the breaker box, needs to be fixed that is minor, anything. If a seller doesn't have to do it, they don't want to do it. So if you're sending them, an offer that says I'll forego inspections and I'll take it as is, that's going to put you pretty high up in the line to maybe get that multiple offer. But again, if you say that, you really need to be prepared to take it as is. Some people in some cases will say, regardless of the appraisal, if the appraisal comes in low, I'll put a gap in there. If the appraisal's $10,000 less than my offer, I'll cover that in $10,000. If you can afford to do that, then do that. If maybe you're looking at a house that's a whole lot less than what you had planned to buy anyway, and you have some extra cash, that's one way to kind of say, hey, you know, seller, don't even worry about the appraisal. I got you covered if it comes in low. So that is something, and especially if you're doing a cash deal, that is definitely something you obviously still have the right to do. But if you give up that right, that is one more thing that can kind of help your offer along. So these are just some ideas. Again, I'm not saying that you should do them all, but they're definitely things that you need to really discuss with your agent when you're writing an offer. If you're like, I'm neck and neck and I just got to have this house no matter what, these are some things that might just push you over that finish line, so to speak. So thank you again for tuning in to Shelly Makes It Happen. If you liked the video, please remember to like it on YouTube. I always appreciate that. And if you can subscribe to Shelly Makes It Happen, I also very much appreciate that. You can also leave any comments if there's some discussion that you want about other topics in real estate or questions that you have. I'm always happy to add those to my videos and maybe do a video on those things. So thank you again. Have a great day and have a, you know, good luck in your house buying process. Thank you.